Okay, welcome to our second session, and the Slido link is already there. You can start joining, and you can start posting the questions as well. Not sure whether we got any questions. Let me check.
Yeah, the topic can be anything. Can be Scrum, Kanban, Lean, Scaled Agile, DevOps, right? AI in coaching, right? We can have other domains, HR, supply chain, finance, retail,
Mm.
agility in those areas. So topic can be anything. Whatever comes to your mind or the current challenges that you are facing in your programs.
Anyone able to connect to the Slido? Any issues or any challenges? There is no questions yet.
No, I don't have a question on this one. So really, I thank you for this initiative. I just wanted to take a minute and ask you. So I did not
Sure.
attend the first one. I felt
Sure.
that I should have attended. So just wanted to check with you. This is a monthly forum where we just explain me the logistics, no? So that would help us to be. I just
Sure.
curious to join this.
Sure, Pramod. Thanks for that. Like again, we are happy to help set the context as well. So this is our second monthly session. We are planning to have it the first weekend of the every month, so that like we can keep the cadence going every month. So December we had first session, and now today is a second session monthly. Earlier we used to have a weekly, not weekly, like Tuesday one topic, like a product owner, then Wednesday Zira, then Thursday Scrum Master related sort of thing. But the weekdays is becoming a little bit tough, so that's where we started thinking let's do weekly. Weekly also didn't work out for the logistics and other perspectives. I'm traveling most of the weekends and Sharath is busy, so we thought like at least let's start once a month and see how the things work. So these are our second monthly session.
Okay.
Every month we will have the first weekend session on this, and it is open for everyone.
Okay.
Anyone can come and start sharing their experience and bring up their questions. Okay, we could see two questions on the Slido. Okay, yes, and it's not just asking the questions, you can also upvote so that like we can get the pulse, or we can get the interest from the other participants as well. So the first question, wow, it is interesting. How to get a live experience on Scrum? Who
Anyone
would
who
like
wants to
to?
take up, they can take up. We have around 27 people. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Hi, sir. So, live experience on Scrum, the person, whoever is working, the organization should have the Agile implemented, or the Agile program should be there, so that they can have this live experience. Again, when they say Agile, they should be adopting what kind of framework they need, whether it is Kanban, or there are multiple frameworks under Agile, right? So if organization is into agility, whether it could be business agility, it should be business agility. So in that case, what kind of framework they are looking upon? What is the project or the program based on the portfolio? So that is how one can get the live experience of Scrum or any other framework. That's my
Thanks.
thought for this
Yeah,
query.
thanks, Danya. How about others? Anyone else want to add?
Two things that I could think of personally from my experience is if you're working in usually large organizations, so you have live trainings where people can get hands-on or practical experience that is conducted on an org level. But yes, usually those chances are given to people who work in large corporates. Apart from that, there's one program that is running. I've seen a lot of posts in LinkedIn. It's called Chingu. So they have a program that they are running. I guess it lasts for probably 3 or 6 months that it goes on for. But
Mhm.
for those who are trying to get a transition into Agile or Scrum space, so they have live programs that they're running where again you could get some practical experience in there.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, this is
Okay.
something that I've got to experience.
Good. Good. Yeah. Can you share the link of that program if possible? Maybe in the
Oh yeah,
chat
sure.
window. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that way, like it helps. I'm also interested to get to know what that program is or how they are organizing. That
Sure, sure.
helps.
They
Yeah.
have different kinds of roles also. For example, if you want to get a transition into Scrum Master role, they have a
Mhm.
different kind of program. But if you choose, say, PO, they have a
Mhm.
different kind of program. So yeah, I'll just
Mhm.
leave the link and you could, research about it.
Sure, definitely. And is it a paid or a
No, it's a
free
free
or
one, by the way. Yeah.
free one? Wow, that's interesting. Yes. Yeah. Thanks for that, Niranjana. Let me go to the link because we are also planning for similar things from the implementation perspective. Yes, that helps us to get to know how they are arranging or organizing the sessions. Okay, thanks, Danya and Niranjana. Anyone else want to add how to get live experience on Scrum?
Yeah, Satish, just my
Sure,
experience.
sure,
Okay.
sure.
So how I got experience from QA background to Scrum is I just a part of a project where my Scrum Master was there, and I was just a shadow for him. He was doing all kind of Scrum Master activity, and I was just observing day in day out for not more than 6 months. And when I had a confidence, I underwent training, and a lot of reading and a lot of reference helped me out. And people like Leela Satish who helped me to clear my context and clear my thought process, because when you are sitting one side of a desk and you are giving interview, the mindset should be clear, right? And
Mhm.
I still remember one of the question, it was very I used to ask, and it was my first question as a Scrum Master. Why you want to become a Scrum Master, although you having good experience in QA and you are leading a multiple team and people are reporting to you, why this transition? So when this particular instance is clear, I think 60 or 70% game is clear for you. And when it comes to real time experience, just you know see how in your project it's happening real time, and try to learn from in-house projects. I think that is more beneficial, and connect multiple community of practices. I myself connected multiple things, so definitely it helped from your peer experience and out of the your as corporate environment. So yeah, this is how I grow, and I went over 4 years. Yeah.
Mhm. Thanks, Jason. Yes, anyone else want to add their perspectives, how to
See,
get
there
a
are
live
two
experience
ways,
on Scrum?
right? To my knowledge,
Mhm.
in office, outside the office, right?
Mhm.
In office, you know, if you come across any project where they're already implementing Agile over there, so you can be part of that project under the guidance of budding Scrum Master or experienced Scrum Master, and they keep on doing and they keep involving you, and eventually you will learn. That's how you get the live experience. Out of office means there are certain institutes, I believe, who are giving like someone has shared the simulation, right? They provide the simulation of how the actual Scrum works, right? Including practices and everything. I think along with the certification, they charge something or they have some independent program where they help us understand how a Scrum Master works real time, including everything, right? So, to my knowledge, these are the two possible areas. Third one is there are some mentors or coaches who can spend time for you if time is available with them, and they can help you out. So they might share their thoughts, life experiences, and if possible, if that is allowed, they can share some information to you how the real project runs. So that way you can get the live experience, even though that is passive learning. So these are the possible areas which I am aware. Others can share their thoughts. Maybe one more person can share their thought before we move to the next question. I think we are getting good amount of question.
Yeah, Sharad.
Yes.
This is Venkatesh. I would like to share this live experience, how to did that. If say for example, if a developer or tester is part of a non-Scrum team, non-Agile team, if there are other teams co-located there, so during the ceremonies to start with, go through the Agile manifest and things like that theoretically. Ensure that you understand things, then be take permission and be part of all the ceremonies at least for 2 or 3 sprints. So that person will get a hold of good amount of knowledge. Then take a help of a senior Scrum Master or coach. Then he can jump into any team later. So that is how we can get a live experience. Thanks.
Thanks for adding that, Venkatesh. So, my perspective, I got the similar experience what Venkatesh mentioned, because I'm the last one to enter into this agile space within my client engagement at that point of time. I used to work with a lot of client vendors, third-party companies. So there is not much of scope of implementing agile at that point of time for them. So all my other colleagues, they started this agile sprint planning, daily stand-up and everything. So I had a conversation with their scrum master. Hey, I'm also interested to get to know what you're doing. I will be just an observer and I will be there in your meetings, in your discussions. Don't consider that I'm there. You continue having your discussions. Luckily, after having 4 or 5 conversations with them, they agreed, and the whole team, it's not just a scrum master, the whole team agreed, and I was there just taking part in the discussions. And I got to know, even before me starting playing a role of a team member in the agile space, I got to know what agile looks like, or what is a scrum, what happens in each and every event. That helped me to get started a lot. Yes, very good. Shall we go ahead with the next?
Can I add just one point, Satish?
Sure, Subbu.
Probably there are certain games in
Mhm.
case like somebody can try those things, like Scrum board sort of games are there, wherein related to estimations and then probably planning, organizing Scrum ceremonies and all. So that
Mhm.
would be also one other better way of like getting started on the Scrum, and then probably may not be the real time experience, but then that is also one of the live experiences which people might get.
That's true. Yeah, getting hands-on experience of understanding the concepts. That's good. Yes. And there's one point in the chat. Put yourself out there to be a backup for your current Scrum Master, starting with running stand-up. Yes, that also helps. So like where you can be a backup Scrum Master, acting Scrum Master, or helping your Scrum Master, so that it's not just the facilitating the events is not the only thing, right? So there are multiple things what the Scrum Master or what happens in the Scrum end to end. So only by getting the real-time involvement, we will get to know what all these things, what's happens, the backlog refinement, and coordinating with the product owner and the stakeholders and everything. So acting as a backup to your current Scrum Master or helping your Scrum Master also helps to get more hands-on experience on the Scrum implementation. Yeah. Are you good? Shall we go ahead?
Hey, this is Nilanshi here. I can
Hi,
probably add
Nilanshi.
one last point.
Sure.
Uh, we know that there are a lot of conferences happening, and I have seen, or based on my experience, a lot of teams, they plan the conferences by using Scrum framework, right? So you can also be a volunteer there and see how the real time framework helps in planning and executing and having the right accountability, having the right empowerment. So that's also one way to learn. That's all. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Nilanshi. I'm not sure whether I recently came across, but last year I saw a couple of volunteer opportunities for playing the role of Scrum Master. Oh, they clearly mentioned they are not going to pay anything, but it is a voluntary opportunity which they are providing. So I shared it in the groups. So there is also one way to get started with getting the hands-on experience, if not for the pay. Yes. Thanks, Nilanshi, for that. Okay, yes. The next question, Niranjana, is: does anyone have experience of organizational agile transformation? Any tips in terms of introduction of agile to the org might be helpful.
I can probably start, and then you guys can pitch in.
Sure, sure. Please go ahead.
So when it comes to transforming, at organization level, I feel that, we should understand what's in it for the leadership. What are they looking forward to? The way, I have been working with the group of coaches along with me, is basically understanding the goal of the organization and then plugging in agile ways of working so that they understand what can be done. Just giving you an example of, for one of the organization that we were working, um, the goal there was basically making sure that we increase the employee engagement and also increase the customer retention, right? So we tried to plug these two goals with our agile journey, and then we started off talking about that, and that way it was very easy to get a buy-in from the leadership. And once you have the buy-in from leadership, I usually tell people that when it's top down approach, it's much more easier for the coaches to just get along and let people know how it can benefit you. But at the same time, of course, bottom up approach also is good. I mean, I don't deny the fact that it doesn't work. It does work. In that case, you should start very small, do a POC with a small team, and then show that success project or success criteria, whatever you had. Talk about that case study with everybody in your organization, and then tell them that how this team has been able to achieve um, their goal by using agile ways of working. Yeah, that's all for me.
Thanks for
Yeah, thanks.
adding
Actually, to
about.
add to that, there are two types of agile transformation according to my knowledge. One is the project level transformation from whatever the waterfall, V model, whatever it is. The next is the mindset. See, when it is agile, during the transformation, we look at the what we call as I'm getting that word. So transparency, right? So if we say that 80% of the time is available for it, and what is that you are doing for the last 24 hours, and in midterm there is a unofficial stand-up also. That means that transparency is there, and that team have to understand. If it is a waterfall, once in a week there will be a meeting, and what you did last week and all these things are there. But here it is a daily stand-up, and we have to understand that transparency is the core part of it. So the agile transformation includes both our culture, our mindset, as well as the project transformation.
Thanks, Venkatesh. Would you like to go
Right,
next?
right, Satish. Exactly, Venki. Vink, as you said, right, it's a two ways of the transformation, right? So I have experienced about the transforming the leadership, right? The leadership has to understand about why the transformation need. Doesn't matter whether it is agile or mindset and whatever. Because I was part of the federal contracts for more than a decade, right? What my understanding was leadership, they should involve, they should put themselves first to to adapt the changes, right? So there are two things, as you mentioned, right? IT and IT management, right? So most of the transformation happening in the IT management, right, Sadish? If I'm not wrong.
That's correct. That's correct. Yes.
Especially when we work with the federal contracts. um,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
It started with IT. That's why implementation part is more across IT even today, right?
exactly.
And
Correct.
the other departments or other domains started catching up lately, but now they are progressing. But yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
exactly said.
Yeah. So, to add on from my side, right? So, introduction to agile to the org needs to start with the leadership context, like as Neelanshi mentioned initially. So, we need to understand why we are doing agile, or what is the benefit we are trying to achieve by trying to transform into agile, or what's the challenges we are trying to address, or what's the long-term goal we are trying to achieve by doing this transformation, right? So again, the transformation comes in different ways, whether it is a digital transformation or agile transformation. We might get confused with those the terminologies as well. We need to be a little bit clear about it. So agile transformation, the first step is like we need to understand the what, why, and how. How comes the next step, right? Sorry, why, what, and how, as Simon Sinek say, right? So first, why agile? Why are we doing agile, or why are we transitioning to agile? And what is that we are trying to achieve by doing this agile transformation? Then comes the how part. So if we get that clarity on why and what, the how part will start coming up in the next step. That is where we as a coach or we as a scrum master will start coming into the context, right? And this entire journey might take time. Don't expect that we are all magicians, like all of a sudden overnight we will get that agile transformation done. No, not at all. The initial getting that buy-in from leadership itself take its own time. Then it's not just the leadership. Like let's suppose the CEO made a statement that yes, we want to do agile. That doesn't mean the directors or executives will follow whatever the CEO says. So we need to go and deal with each and every individual, each and every leader, each and every executive, and accordingly, it will take its own time and effort. And this agile transformation is not one individual's task or one individual responsibility, right? So there will be a team or there will be folks who will work together on getting that entire organization level transformation. And when you say organization, it is not just the software teams or IT teams. HR, marketing, finance, whatnot, and the compliance teams, each and every team also might need to get involved. That is where now the business agility, the enterprise agility is starting to pick up, because agile, the software IT teams are already agile. They are already following agile for past 5 years, 10 years, or maybe 15, 20 years as well. The next step, the focus is on the enterprise agility or the business agility. How we can bring the entire organization into this agile, or how we can bring all the departments, all the entities within the organization to work together and get that done. Why it is more important now at this point of time, the AI tools. Earlier, it used to take maybe years to build a software. With the agile way of working, we reduced to the possible extent. Now with the AI, maybe within fraction of minutes or maybe a couple of hours, we can get an entire website built. So if that is the case, just building the website itself will not be sufficient. We need to make sure the compliance, the security, and we need to be ready to release to production and make sure what happens next. Each and every aspect needs to be taken care from the organization perspective. That is where focusing on bringing the other entities within the organization also into the agile way of working is more important at this point of time. My personal opinion again. Right? Are you good, Niranjana? Are
You
you
said. You rightly said.
good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to add some
Sure.
points in my personal experience. This is Fatima this side. I think I would like to echo whatever Satish mentioned. He rightly mentioned that firstly we need to take buy-in from leadership. Otherwise, we won't be able to reach to any level. We need to understand what kind of support they are going to provide us, and to what level they have understanding about agile. Even though there is like waterfall, always bottom to top we go, but here it is different. It is top to bottom kind of thing. Top down approach we have to follow in terms of bringing agility at organization level. Once we know where exactly our leaders, our company leaders are standing in terms of agility, and what exactly is their expectation and their strategy to implement agile in the organization or in their project, and then how they want to scale up, mainly understanding their pulse. I think it is key thing which as a coach or as a consultant we have to understand first. Otherwise, we might stumble if we go to teams and start training them, and there might not be buy-in from leadership. So we have to have one person who is supporting along with our journey in their organization. That's my few cents here. Thank you.
Thanks, Fatima, for adding that. Yes. Anyone else?
Okay, like anyone else? Otherwise, we'll add my perspective.
Sure, Sharath. Please go ahead.
Well, like I think most of you people have already put up the major points. First of all, when organization is thinking of transformation, yes, we need to understand what kind of transformation they are looking for. They're looking for traditional to modern ways of working, or from they're already into agile over a period of time and they want to move to scaled agile framework to expand their product delivery and all, and or is it a digital transformation or technical transformation or business transformation? So there are different areas, which organization might thought of, improving their areas, right? First of all, we need to sit with the leadership as someone told, and try to understand what is their perspective and why they want to bring that change. The reason can be anything. It can be time to market, right? Speed of delivery, better customer engagement, right? And they want to transform their technical domain, building CI/CD pipelines, and ensure that product is going faster to the customer. So it can be anything. So once you get that perspective from the leadership, then you will go ahead and chalk out your discussions with the concern team. As someone told, instead of big bang transformation, let's start with one pilot project, right? Assuming that we got buy-in, let's start with one pilot project. For that, you have to talk to that particular team on uh, helping setting the context, why we want to transform, what are the benefits, what are the challenges that we are going to get, how it is going to help us in the long term. So everything you have to explain to the team clearly, and you have to invite questions from their side. When I say teams, it's both product and tech. Uh, of course, you have QA and other teams also participate. You have to answer their questions, create that confidence within, as Satish told, you have to help them understand the why and what. Then they will start aligning with us. Okay, whatever this coach or scrum master is telling, there is some meaning in it. And that's why the leadership has brought in to bring this kind of change, right? Once you get a strong buy-in with the teams, of course, it's not that easy. Organization to organization, few people they listen to us very easily because they identify the importance and the need for transformation, and they echo with us. There are some or maybe a lot of areas because people might not accept, even though they know the importance. It can be resistance or some other issue, or they are called influencers, right? They influence other people not to accept few things because they are comfortable with the current ways of working. A lot of things as a scrum master you have to, or coach, you have to address all those things. Still, there might be 10% nuts whom we have to deal with. So obviously you have to get the brute force, uh, not directly, but yeah, once the leadership says, they will listen to. So that can very minute percentage of people will be there, but eventually they will also understand the importance and they'll carry forward with us. So that's how you will start with helping people understand. Then once you help them understand, then you have to create a roadmap, clear roadmap, day wise or week wise, what you are going to do, or you are going with the training, right? Which training when we are going to do, are you going to do any workshop to get hands on, so that because these are all easy for us because we might have done a lot of transformation. For a new team, it is very like Greek and Latin, right? So we have to handhold them, help them understand all these things in the trainings as well as workshops, right? And once that is done, then we have to start applying that on a pilot project. And then we have to, similarly, we have to get them familiar with the tools, right? It's Jira or Rally or whatever ALM tool that they're trying to bring in. You have to make them understand all those tools, right? And then slowly we have to spend good amount of time with the product owners also, because their initiation is core, right? The way they structure the things and prioritize the things will have a ripple effect on the entire product till it goes live, right? So their paying equal attention or more attention to the product team is also super critical, along with the business analysts. So once this, you mention all this as part of the roadmap, right? This is how I'm going to do, right? So once we reach to a certain stage and start applying in the projects, including our ceremonies and practices, then you do that maturity assessment to see where we were earlier versus where we are as of today, and see if there are any challenges that needs to be addressed, or and establishing the metrics and reporting, right? You have to do that parallelly. Once this entire setup is done, then you have to gauge the progress, see where we are, and from there onwards, you have to take next steps, right? When you are involving in all this ecosystem, you have to think about what is needed from the tech side, right? Using the latest technologies, as I told earlier, building the CI/CD pipelines, using any of the cloud technologies, right? So all these are the applications or tools that will help us move towards agility. It cannot be only implementation of Scrum or Kanban or any framework. If you bring right tools, that also bring agility to build the product. So that's how you need to bring the transformation. Of course, if it is agile to scaled agile, I mean team level agile to scaled agile, there are altogether different frameworks, right? Like SAFe, DAD, Nexus, Spotify, right? I think there is one more framework. So this is how you need to deal with the transformation. These are few cents from my side. Someone asked some extended question, I believe.
There is a
How
point
to
in
assess
the
the maturity level, right? Maturity level, there are certain templates, basic templates, old templates, new templates that are available in Google itself. So if you ask from my side, basic template says like you understand the team behaviors, you understand how the product, how they are implementing agility, how Scrum team is doing that, and in terms of engineering practices, agile practices and engineering practices. These are some basic templates we have, and there are different parameters around that. We'll be sharing. There is a I don't know how many of you are aware. We have a library in Telegram. The hundreds of templates that are available for different perspectives. I request everyone to join there and go through that. But anyways, we'll be sharing that. Okay. So I believe that answers your question. Okay.
And there is a point from Vijay as well on the same question. Like agile transformation may be slow in some cases to actually see tangible positive results. We as coaches may need to be resilient to sail through the tough time initially. That's 100% correct. Thanks for adding that point, Vijay.
Obviously.
So, like I directly heard from one of the client that I read this book or I came across this book, twice the work in half the time. So this project, I got the estimate as 1 year, so get it done within 6 months. Might in the agile way of working might not be directly upfront straightforward, right? So we need to take the baby steps. At least initially, there will be very slow down, or there could be a little bit of slowdown at least to change into the process, new way of working, the coaching, training, mentoring, and everything. So definitely there will be a disruption initially. So we need to set that clear context to that leadership team, and we need to. That's the reason, like as Neelansh mentioned, right? Take one team by one by one team, or take one project by one project. The entire organization will not be agile overnight. So we need to take step by step so that the whole organization will not get disrupted at the same point of time. We need to make sure to show the small wins or quick wins so that like we can get the trust and the support of the leadership to continue in the engagement. Okay. Yes.
Right. As long as you are transparent with the challenges, that is the which might be the reasons for the slowdown, leadership will always accept, and you can suggest some improvements also on how to speed up the transformation. Probably they might take those suggestions, and things can be improved.
Satish sir, I just
So
want to.
Rajesh, assuming the same question, this question as yes, Shashank.
Sorry
Go
to interrupt you. So,
Yeah,
in
sure, go
my
ahead.
experience when I was in banking, so I was a part of transformation journey. So the same thing, what how we provided trust to our management or leadership for both of the parties, from my organization and the client, that we did assessment for a entire PI 3 months activity. And from as Satish sir said, that we have some certain framework like pre-crawl, walk, run, fly, exit. So on the basis of that, we identify the where is the bottleneck and how we are after 3 months. So that gives a boost to management that okay, team is mature enough bit, let's give slow and steadily. So basically, in my experience, banking is very tough nut to crack when you are trying to implement agility, because you have to have the product no matter which framework or architecture you are designing. They need a business, right? So it was, for my experience, but it was tough nut. And we gave piece by piece and pi by pi. So at the end, after 3 months the result was good, so we continued that particular flow. So yeah, it can be done in this particular way, not the entire cake to be eaten in a single shot. If you cut it into small pieces, it will be easy to digest, eat and digest. Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct. Yes.
Thanks.
So Rajesh, assuming this question, next question is also the same, right? How transformation can happen from waterfall to agile? Yes, this is what we discussed till now, like taking step by step, making sure getting the buy-in or the support from leadership team, talking to different stakeholders, and taking the team by team and the entire process, with the assessments and everything. That's where we need to take it up and go ahead with that. Does it answer your question as well, Rajesh?
Yes, Satish. Yeah, that answers
Okay.
my question. Thanks. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
For
Can I add a
transformation
small
from
point?
Satish, I have my 2 cents for the previous
Sure.
question.
Sure. Please go
Okay,
ahead.
from transformation from waterfall to agile, one more thing, whatever we have discussed, one more thing to keep in mind is, for every waterfall, there is a phases, right? Cut phase, testing phase, and other phases. So during cut phase, we have this kind of productivity, that is at this 10K logs per lines of code and all. But in agile, we don't consider that, we don't measure that. So we normally go for story points, and in some cases, I feel that even story points, if you have to say that now it is 50 story points, the team should do 55 story points. No, that should not be the case. That story points and other thing depends on the stories that are put across and the level of maturity the team has. So that needs to be taken care when transforming and practicing from waterfall to agile, not to fall prey to that productivity and such things.
Yeah. Thanks for the inputs. Yeah.
A very valid point, Venkatesh. That's what many of the organizations, even the SOWs as well, we see like 10%, 15%, 20% productivity improvement, sprint on sprint, quarter on quarter, PI to PI. That's not the case. The moment we start bringing that velocity or that story points, that's where team members will start bloating the story points. They know very well how to play the game more than us.
Now they will say that instead of 3, they will bloat us 5. So we are not
Yes.
ending up anywhere. So, but I am lucky to have that kind of PO and product owner to understand that. Yeah.
Just Satish, one point here, Rajesh.
Mhm.
So, what people who are new to Agile are also feeling is in terms of documentation and day-to-day meetings, their effort will increase considerably, and
Documentation anytime it is required, right? See, whether it is waterfall or agile or any methodology, any approach, documentation is required, right? So, what the agile uh, try to focus on when we say that working software over comprehensive documentation is rather than preparing that 100, 200, 300 pages BRDs, HLDs, LLDs, we will focus on what is required for that feature, for that sprint or for that release, and we'll go ahead with that. See, we are already doing the user stories, the release documentation, features, and everything. That itself is more than enough from the documentation perspective. Coming to the daily events or the sprint events, most of the teams they will consider either 6 hours a day as a productive day, or they will consider like 8 story points per sprint as a productive days or something. So there are different ways. See, when we say 8 hours a day, none of us will be working and 8 hours continuously is sticking to the laptop or a monitor, right? So each team or each organization has their own way to calculate or to consider what is considered as a productive day from the implementation perspective. So if the team is feeling that the daily stand up 15 minutes itself is a disturbance or distraction or maybe overload for them, uh, we need to set the clear context how it is going to benefit to them, or what's the reason, what's the logic for it, and why that specific event is there. Does it answer your question, Rajesh?
yes, Satish. Yeah, no, thanks. So, like
Sure.
it was mentioned by others, there is a resistance to adopt to a
Anything.
new methodology, especially from the
Exactly.
business teams, where they are saying we are more in terms of interested in getting a requirement delivered within the time period. So, why you want to
Exactly.
engage us in all these things? So, it's
Hmm.
basically adoption and understanding of new methodology, generally, which takes time. So,
Exactly. So
thanks.
that is where the empathy in the sense understanding or talking in that specific stakeholder language matters. So if you're having interaction with the team member who is a technical expert versus a QA analyst versus a architect versus engineering manager versus product owner versus a business stakeholder, we can't use the same terminology. We can't convey the same information in the same way to each of them. Right? So we need to understand that as well, that aspect as well. Right. So simple, like if you're talking to your son or daughter versus your friend versus your colleague versus your spouse versus your parents versus your relatives, we will use in a different way the conversation, the communication. Same is the case with the stakeholders as well. Right? We can't give the same statement to everyone in the same way. So we need to understand that aspect as well. So empathy should start with us as an agilist, and that's when we can bring that context to them.
Satish, to
True, Satish.
answer Rajesh question of documentation. So Agile doesn't say that we have to do away with the documentation when compared to Waterfall. Waterfall has certain set of norms as per the process of CMMI, ISO, such things. So, but still, if an organization is assessed with CMMI level 5, but still they have to go through the documentation, which is useful during assessment. You cannot do away with that. So one thing, what is the difference between Waterfall and Agile is during definition of done and definition of ready, there are certain set of document needs to be there. So that understanding up to that particular level of documentation is sufficient. We need not go for pages of LLD, HLD, and other such documents where in ISO it is required. But this set of definition of ready document, definition of done documents which is completed, that we can show during the assessment. So we cannot do away with the documentation. That is the understanding.
Thanks, Venkatesh. All your points could help me gain a better insight. Yeah, thanks, all of you. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. That's the reason we are having these sessions, right? To help each other. Okay, yes. Let's
Satish,
move on.
it has been quite helpful. I've been listening to others talking, so
Sure,
it's
sure.
good to hear. Yeah.
Thanks. So the next question, now that GenAI is very popular, how can we use the same to better the agile way of working? Any thoughts? Who would like to take it up? Any AI experts or anyone who started using AI?
I can probably talk about it, not exactly in relation to Agile, but different tools that we use generally. Like one thing being Jira, which is one of the most widely used tool, has automation that they've started. So for people who might not have used it, you can set any kind of rules. Just take for a random example for me to explain, you can set in an automation rule to say, so anytime you create a ticket, it has to get automatically assigned to someone, is some rule that you can set just in case you miss to assign tickets to someone. But all of these come with a particular cost as well. So yes, it is about how much, whether it's you using it personally or whether it's your organization using it, so how much cost are you ready to spend on it is one thing that you need to note. But there are a lot of automation that you can do, especially with relation to Jira, in terms of some bits of manual work that you're doing. And Miro is one other powerful tool wherein you can actually give AI prompts to it to write user stories for you. So it would obviously, like some roles like business analyst roles are something that you can take help from AI to do that. But again, there are a lot of security related issues also that organizations might have in terms of adopting AI, so those are points to be taken care of.
Thanks, Niranjana. Who would like to add next?
I think Sashank, you can go ahead. Sorry.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, sure.
With the continuous pushing of AI and GenAI into the market, I have one question. It is specific to domain related. Is banking and BFSI, are they going to use, because when we are speaking with banking, they are very much focusing upon Jira, and they are not using any other tools, just like Miro and other latest advanced tool for their API programming and safe scale agile framework. So my question is, are they going to use such kind of tools where they have a lot of security parameter, customer informations, and a lot of financial data in place? And especially when we are speaking in India, and there are multiple good number of banking are there, and they're using higher-ended tools. Are they going to use AI? Because yesterday or day before yesterday, I read one of the article of Deputy Governor of RBI. He said that we need to pause about using AI in our tools and technology. So that's my understanding. Everything we cannot push into AI and make the things happen. Yeah, it is pro, and of course we have to see the pro cons part before implementing.
So I have different, different thoughts
Okay.
from my side, Shashank. The moment when you
Yes,
say AI in a banking example, right?
yes,
See,
yes.
AI is not new. It is already there in our day-to-day. We might have not thought, or we might have not felt about it. The implementation of AI is already there in different aspects, different perspectives, right? See, Outlook, if we take our Microsoft Outlook as an example, right? So if we get an email with any action items or anything, 2 days, 3 days later, we might get a small highlight in the Outlook window stating that you are yet to respond to this email. It is indirectly sort of AI. It is trying to help us improve our way of working, right? Now the Microsoft Teams, they have this automatic the meeting notes. The same right now we are using our session, the Zoom summary. That is helping us to improve our way of working. Same as the case, like if you are doing a daily stand-up or story writing or backlog refinement or sprint planning using a Teams or Zoom or anything, we can use this technology or we can use this functionality within our organization, right? We are not using any new AI tool, separate AI tool altogether. Within the organization supported tools or organization approved tools, we are having this AI technology. Same is the case with Atlassian. The Jira, they start, not Jira itself, Atlassian, they started bringing up these AI functionalities in-house, built in. We did a session in the month of December. I shared the link on the YouTube in the chat window. We can take a look at it. So how to create a JQL? There is a AI within the Jira. How to write a user story? How to write a acceptance criteria? There are like the AI tools within the Jira itself is helping us. The same is the case with the within the Confluence. No need to explicitly use a chat GPT or some other tool. These organizations are trying to bring in this AI functionality within the tools which we use, like Teams, Zoom, Jira, Confluence, all these day-to-day tools itself, they are bringing in the AI functionality, which definitely will help us to get that improve our way of working. Like, of course, we can't simply go ahead and take a statement that this story, the use acceptance criteria is created by AI tool within the Atlassian Jira. Let me go ahead and use it. No, we have to refine it, or we have to revise it, or add our own statements or our own logic to it. It will give all the acceptance criteria, maybe 3-4 statements, even if required, like using the given when then format, everything. The tool itself is helping us to write it, but we may want to add the additional logic or additional functionality within that. Does it answer your question, Shashank, to some extent?
Yeah, yes, sir, can relate it. The example you gave,
Yeah.
especially
And
Outlook, MS Teams,
yeah,
pretty much comprehensive. But too much, I really doubt whether banking organizations are they going to implement such subject to their
yeah,
risk and the government norms. I'm let's see how things goes on because
that's true.
as
That's
far
true.
as
See,
huh,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
because as far I see, past couple of days I read one article from Bajaj Alliance, or yeah, their technology they have their in-house development center, so they are also creating some AI, some sort of AI model to track the fraud and loan issues and all kind of notorious things, right? So they are also in a part of implementing AI sooner or later in their model or in the product. So definitely they're going to come up. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. See, another example, especially from the banking perspective, right? See, the credit score check. Earlier, when we used to apply for a credit card or a loan, they used to take weeks or months to check the credit history and do it. Now they are using within fraction of seconds. We are getting that credit history checks done and everything. So if not AI, at least they are using the new way of working or new way of improving the way we are doing the things and everything, right? So there is a case we are making use of this new technology, new way of working and improving the things. The same is the case with video KYC. Earlier, we have to go to a bank, or either the agent used to come to our house and we used to get that physical verification done. Now everything is done automatically online. So even including the bank, of course, with utmost care and compliance and the government regulations, they're still trying to they will still take care of all these things. Still, the new way of working will be implemented in the best possible way with across the domains, not just the banking.
True, sir. True.
I just want to add one point there for those who
Sure.
might be interested. Atlassian has what you call automation playground. So you can actually play with
Yes.
it, and the recent AI that they've gotten. So with probably a free access if you want to get a free trial, or even if you want to take a premium membership. But there are certain features that it would give you in terms of AI. So instead of actually getting a chance to experiment it directly in your project or somewhere, you can take a personal account and you can also try out what features AI can give you and how to set rules, etc. That would be really helpful.
That
I'll leave the
that
link in
definitely
the
works,
chat for
Niranjana.
people who might be interested.
Sure. I have my free version of Zira. That's where I play around, and whenever we do any session within SS Agile Gurus, right, we use the same free instance of Jira. We use the same for Atlassian AI functionalities as well, right? So it is free. No need to even take the license cost or everything, right? So we can use the free version of Jira itself. We can play around and we can start experimenting, exploring, and you can talk to your organization admins and see how soon or how quick they can bring in that a functionality, or if not, yes, you can still go ahead and experiment on your own.
I think, sir, that is for up to 5 users you can use for
Up to
free.
10 users.
10
Up to 10
users, yeah,
users.
and they have
Yeah.
very good feature. Even I have become good in by using free trial version, and it is never going to expire unless until you are active on that particular instance. And also, what I tested as part of tester, you can use that same credentials in your mobile app, and you can play around with the mobile app as well for Jira.
Yes.
So that is
Yes.
also a
Yes.
good thing. I happen to do this particular experiment, so it is quite successful. And not all the activity, all the features unlock for the user, because of course it is not paid by anyone. It is a free trial version, so it will be treating like that. And but creating a user story epic and play around with release item and how to see reports, what kind of reports are there, all kind of basic stuffs you can play around with the basic version. Yeah.
Along with the Jira, we can take one more tool as a free. So up to two we can use. So I picked up Jira and Confluence,
Same, sir.
and
Yeah.
I'm using the same. So someone who asked a question like how to get the live experience of Scrum. If in case you're planning to experiment or explore with Jira, you can start with Jira and the Confluence free version, and you can start creating your own project, your own reports, your own dashboards, your own Confluence pages, and start assuming that this is your project and this is how you are running your sprint, or this is how your reports are coming up. That will help us like anything. You can experiment, you can play around, and you can use it like anything. And you can create your own situations, you can your own scenarios, right? Right. Then once you start actually playing the role of Scrum Master, you will be having good amount of hands-on experience using both the Jira and the Confluence as a tools.
And also no need to have separate set of data when you will creating your own Scrum board or Kanban board. Automatically data will be there, so you can play around with that data. So no need to create story from one. Already when you are selecting that board, it will be ask you two things: Scrum board or Kanban board. If you selecting Scrum board, it will be already giving, I think, 4 to 5 year story. You can by default, by the way. And after that you can create your own, as Satish sir said, you can play around with that, and you can see your reports and multiple features are there, you can play around with that. And Confluence is just a tool to have a documentation version, and you can add, insert calendar, and you can link up to your Jira, and you can play around, so it will give you a real-time experience. And also on top of that, if anyone has used or not Azure DevOps board, ADO, that also open source and for free, you can play around with that. Again, it has some limitation, so you can play around with that tool for some period of time. And also it is never going to expire, but for that you need to have, I think, Microsoft account. Once you have, you can play around. So 2 tools is more than enough to learn anything, and rest yeah.
Are you good with, yes, Sharath?
When it comes to AI, right, it's not just our internal tools or reporting tools that we are using and how we can implement GenAI in that, right? Actual product development also can bring that change. As Shashi was telling, whether it's possible in banking or yes, there are some use cases which people are exploring today to see without breaching the security aspect, how we can bring those changes, right? So that it creates value. Similarly, with respect to the insurance area, right? Currently, I'm working in the insurance domain. There's humongous scope with respect to how GenAI can bring difference, right? Right from submitting claims to claim processing, going to the underwriter, and then processing the claims and paying to the ultimate customer, right? So this entire process has humongous scope, which will turn into billions in future, right? So the actual product development, how it in actual product development, how it is going to create different. That is how I think, even though we are not product owners, Scrum Masters or coaches need to think in that areas and participate in those discussions and suggest something to the management. So that is how I see it. I've read recently one article where it's saying that by some X year, if you implement AI in insurance domain, your costs are almost going to reduce 50%. Humongous, right? If you're a 100 billion business, almost you are gaining 150 only, right? You're reducing your costs, right? So that's how we need to see from a broader perspective, irrespective of any domain, that we are working. You have to think
Okay.
more from the product perspective also. That is my
Exactly. Right. So they not entire product as such, but yes, many companies started exploring or experimenting how they can bring up improving the productivity in the sense coding, actual coding or the functionality implementation aspects. Yes, so that is where the complaints aspect also will come into context. So we might not be able to just copy paste what are the code or the logic which the AI tool is giving. We need to take utmost care to make sure it is in line with our the security aspects and every other thing from the organization, from the product perspective, and we can still go ahead and get it done. But yes, slowly, steadily, maybe who knows by next year or maybe sorry within this year itself, we might see the changes coming up with the more security. That's the reason, like the Microsoft and the Google, Amazon, they started their own in-house AI tools. So whenever you are having a Microsoft account, you can start using that. The same is the way if you are using Google Suite, you can use a Bard. The same is the case with Amazon. Same is the case with Atlassian. Every other product, they are starting to provide that AI functionality for their customers and users, so that they can start making use of it and get the benefits.
Yeah. One last point, what I was trying to call out is pie-shaped skills, right?
Yes.
And thoughts. If you see a product owner, I'm saying recent trends are in the past also, they can easily jump into the project space, they get technical domain space, they can talk to the DB teams and try to understand whatever the data they need, right? To push the QA, UAT and all. I'm just giving example. They are going into multiple domains, teams, and trying to gain and master the knowledge. So we as Scrum Masters, as coaches, also need to explore those domains and become expertise in the areas of technical, whether it comes to DevOps or GCP, AWS, whatever, in terms of product discovery, in terms of product understanding, suggesting. We also need to go deep into that. That's how you will get opportunities at the senior level. Otherwise, as far as I know, it's difficult to sustain after certain experience.
Are you good with the question? Anyone else? I want to add any points? Any follow-up question on it? Okay. So Manit has a question. As an agile coach, how would you conduct or facilitate a session related to product vision or a roadmap workshop?
Yeah, we see around 32 people. I think people can open up. There's nothing like right or wrong. Please share your thoughts.
Hi, Sharath and Sadish. Yeah. So here, like, how would you conduct a facilitate session related to the product vision, roadmap, and the workshop, right? But when I facilitate the particular product discovery and the product roadmap, right, I used to collaborate with the different teams and different verticals, right? and also the specific person from the different vertical. I used to pick up like some specific, like, the point of contact for the team. Then I try to collaborate to understand the particular team, like, let's say the maturity level, I would say, because as a facilitator, I need to understand the team maturity level, right? So based on that, I used to create some basic styles of Scrum and Agile, and also some related to the ORC concepts, some coaching related concepts, right? And of course, like, in order to facilitate, conduct any of the workshop as a facilitator or the trainer, our job is to understand our team maturity level. That's so very much important. That's what I learned it from my experience. Because in my very first experience, I thought, like, it's, I assume people, they might be have some sort of knowledge, but that was my wrong assumption. Yeah. So as a facilitator, we should understand the ground reality. That's my 2 cents. Yeah. Again, to create the
That's
product
true.
strategy, sorry.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
To create the product strategy and the roadmap, right? So actually, I mean, of course, like I follow some sort of the big upload technique and the visual presentation, right? And also, I use the Lego techniques, because I normally create the space for the people to connect emotionally in the product, so that, like, they will come up with the new innovative ideas or the innovative solutions, right? So so first I just create the space for them to, like, feel secure. Then they will come up with some solutions. Yeah, but these are the two main tool which I use, like Lego and some the coaching tools and techniques. Yeah, thanks, Sadiq.
Can you share the link, Vishwa, if
Uh,
possible?
which one? Lego Serious Play?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, not an issue.
Yeah.
Lego is just a building blocks, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
actually,
I mean, are you using any online or in person?
no, it's a
I just want
in-person. It's a in-person one, but
got it.
I can just share these information, the Lego. But Sadesh,
Mhm,
what I'll do is maybe I'll share these some tools which I used, like Lego, right? I'll share some pictures with you a bit later.
mhm.
Yeah.
Sure. Definitely, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. The link which I shared,
Yeah.
that Lego pieces. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. Sure. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that is a good question. Product vision and roadmap, right? As I was calling out earlier, Scrum Master or Agile coach should not be limited only to the implementation of agility in their organization. They should be well aware of the product also, what kind of product they are trying to build and how it is going to create value. So it's good that they facilitate these kind of session. Of course, they have to do that. In different organizations, it happens differently. Sometimes, uh, product team, they maintain their own meetings and all. Sometimes they might or might not involve Scrum Master and Agile coach. But yeah, anyways, you can request for that. Some teams, they are mature, they invite you for the, these kind of discussions, including vision and roadmap. First of all, you should be aware what is product vision and what is product roadmap. And within that, what are the activities that they do. Of course, you are the facilitator and it will be run by the product teams, product own, product manager, product directors. They run those things. And if they allow you, usually they need to be agile. They should allow you, and you can be part of the conversations and help them out. But usually in organizations, they maintain that thin line of difference. So you can suggest during the product vision or creating that roadmap, because ultimately that needs to be delivered by IT, right? Even though they create the roadmap. So in line with the IT, they need to understand what are the challenges. That will help in creating the right roadmap, which will again get into the execution plan, followed by this thing. So that is how I see it.
And also, Sadish, I have shared the link on the chat window. These are roadmap. These are the tool we normally use for the product implementation strategy workshop to facilitate. Yeah.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
good one.
So it's online access. And of
Roadmap.
course, we do have a free access also
Thank.
here. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure, sure. I would like to try it out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
One
Thanks,
thing that
Vishwa.
I found powerful is instead of using slides or any representation in that form for a roadmap, it's better we leverage tools that we have. For example, if you look at Atlassian products, they have a roadmap that we could create there, and from there you would get a representation of what underlying features, stories, etc. we have as part of the high level picture. So that's a powerful thing to use rather than just showing it in a PPT or some form like that. And also, it's about consistency. So it's not just a one time thing that you start with, but frequently, if it could be monthly or sometimes quarterly ones. But it's important that you have these discussions and show people, talk transparently about what are the different challenges that they've had, or what are the different levels of effort that they need to achieve whatever they are trying to target, and what are the different time frames. And it's all about open and honest discussions about where we are and what we would like to do. Or sometimes there could be a change in direction that you would have to embrace. Obviously, Agile is all about that, but it's all about how you communicate to your team and get them on the same page as you. That is the most important thing.
Ranjan here. In addition
Hi,
to
Ranjan.
Niranjana, whatever she told, I think it's a good approach where probably starting from the beginning, how the product roadmap is to be division of certain say monthly basis or might be down the line, how it should be for a quarterly, what kind of religious plan going to be, and also probably. Down the line what is the dependencies between different value streams that need to be identified in such a way that what are the dependencies between different teams and what are the gaps need to be there, and as she told also, like those gaps, and there should be open discussions between different teams need to be arranged so that they everybody are in sync, so that how the product roadmap is going to be down the line of like first quarter or second quarter, and there should what kind of gaps and challenges we are going to find it out. So might be that will going to help also brainstorms and all between different teams, so that they able to get to know about that.
Thanks, Ranjan. You're able to see my Excel document? I'm not sure whether or still the Slido is coming up.
No.
Okay, let me
Excel
stop
didn't come
sharing.
up.
Okay. Okay, so I created
Now it's
a
coming.
I created a sample Excel template for my own personal use. So like I assumed, again, this is going back to the previous initial question as well, how to get the experience of Scrum or Agile transformation. I assumed like I have to go and start with the transformation with a brand new organization. Like I took a bank as an example because I have a lot of banking experience, right? So I created my own vision statement, the strategy statement, the customer segmentations. I created the personas and the product roadmap. This is what I created everything just using Excel, so that like it will be easy rather than just using any tool. I could have used any tool as well, but just I used the Excel itself. So this is how like the product roadmap when it comes to the product roadmap or the vision, right? So quarterly is what we can start with, especially mini banks. We know that they are still doing a quarterly release, whether it is a agile or waterfall or any other way of working. They are still doing a quarterly release to the production. So I created some quarterly thing, how or what functionality should go into that specific quarter release. So as Ranjan mentioned just now, right? So we need to first get that clarity, whether we want to do a monthly release, quarterly release, or half yearly, or what is that release timelines the business team is looking for. Accordingly, we need to get that, okay, now you want to do monthly. What is that your team or teams can take the load of how many new functionalities or how many new features, how many new user stories they can plan for that given release timeline, whether it is a month or quarter, whatever the timeline. Accordingly, by taking that as a base, the release mapping also might happen. The end-to-end, I assume the end-to-end banking app, and for each release, what is the scope? Based once the product roadmap is finalized, that's when the actual user stories and everything will get started coming up, right? So these are, I created this template. I started using it or referring it whenever I'm having any conversation. So yes, so how to have that product roadmap? Yeah, to sum up all the points, you can use any of the tools and making sure rather than the slides, have the conversation with the stakeholders. What is it they're trying to achieve? What's the frequency they're planning to look? How much the teams can take it up from the implementation perspective. Accordingly, we need to facilitate that conversation. We need to make sure the regular basis is not just one time and done it, right? So we need to make sure that this discussion, this product roadmap, should be happening at least once in quarter. That way it will help everyone to be in sync, everyone to refine or revise their strategy, vision, or anything as such. And obviously, the inspector up as and when we go to now, let's suppose we are in Q1 2024. So by the time we complete Q1 and we go to Q2, we need to figure out, okay, we planned enable OTP authentication and the other functionality. What is it? Are we done with that, or have we missed, or do we need to reprioritize how much we achieve? Accordingly, we need to refine or revise the next quarters or the next set of the roadmap. Just sort of sharing so that like to sum up the conversation perspective. Yes, Neelanshi
Also,
shared one.
yeah, Satish, I
Yes.
just likely to know also,
Mhm.
like in addition to that one, whatever you told, the approach should be like in our organization, what we are following, like in case of the product roadmap also, like down the line of say a first month or a quarterly basis also, like we are discussing with the product owner or client assumptions, what is their product roadmap, their vision, in such a way that like I'm into .NET project where the end goal should be like there should be a drop down menu which is going to be there, what is the options when you click that one. So in that way the product vision should be that the PO able to get it out that what should be the top down approach or might be the bottom down approach, what should be. So we are following in our organization that what is our end goal out of this
Exactly.
1 month. So that there should be a vision out of that one, and in taking that vision into that one, the PO and the discussions is happening in between team members like that for us, so that we keep on getting to know like in case of top down approach how it should be, or in case of bottom to up approach what should be, or might be some of the other projects which have earlier being there similar kind of analogous approach or something we are also following. So it will help a lot to figure it out what should be the vision of the project roadmap.
That's true. That's true, Ranjan. Yes, that's the reason having the conversation with the stakeholders like business team, the product owners, product management, and involving them in this product, the vision roadmap discussion as well matters, because they are the one who is setting the context. We are just facilitator of the discussion.
Yes, absolutely true.
Okay. Yes. Let's go back. We are good with this question? Okay, so yeah, Vishwa shared the links on the chat, and Nilanshi also shared the link in the chat. So you can take a look at it. And yes, thanks. Manit, hope you got the clarity on this question. Oh, Manit is not here. Looks like he dropped off, but yes, we got more details and clarity. Let's go ahead. Next question. Tips to improve the interpersonal skills of Scrum Master. Yes, we got 1 point on the chat. Thanks, Nilanshi. Vijay, you would like to unmute and share your pointer?
Yeah, thanks, Satish. So, yeah, for Scrum Master, I would say, like, along with the other functional skills, so definitely interpersonal skills is very much needed because it's more of a soft, influential role, which doesn't have much direct authority over the team or the team members, right? So, I would say, like, along with decent IQ, like EQ, emotional quotient, as they call it, is very crucial. And the Scrum Master as a person should be very empathic and should be in a position where he is able to not ruffle the ego of people, but have able to influence people in a way and make the team high performing. So it is kind of a role where he needs to be more of a psychologist, understand people's mindset, and be influential and possess a lot of tolerance and patience and bring incremental improvements with the team. So I would say, like, EQ plays a big part in the being a successful Scrum Master. So that's my thought on it.
That's very valid statement.
Hi, Satish. I have a question.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. So when we say EQ has to be high level for a Scrum Master, the contrary is Scrum Masters are being chosen with very low level of work experience. So how a person who does not get the office environmental maturity can have a high level EQ? I mean to say low level experience means less than 5 years or sometimes 2 years also. The country where I'm living is freshers are taken as Scrum Masters. How is that possible?
So in some cases, a person may have a good EQ by birth. In some cases, like, we need to consciously improve. So the good thing with EQ is that it is not something is fixed as IQ. Like, there is an age range where beyond a certain point, it's going to be difficult to improve the IQ level. But EQ is something which can be continuously worked and improved upon. So if person is going to be selected as a Scrum Master with a very minimal experience, and if he is having low level of EQ, then it's going to be difficult for himself and the team. So it's also, there has to be some level of thought process involved before selecting the Scrum Master. So definitely someone with a low EQ, as per my understanding and experience, is going to find it very difficult to play a good Scrum Master.
Yeah, got your point, Vijay. But the problem is even the people after 15 years of or 18 years of experience even could not survive the office politics. There are many scapegoats, right? So EQ is definitely not there with many of them. But when a particular person who is like the man who has to run the projects should have a EQ, then the EQ is the more priority than the basics of Agile. I'm not debating with you, but this is very thought for me. Like 20 years experience are not allowed to become a Scrum Master, but the fresher is allowed to become a Scrum Master. But EQ is the major point here. Not with you. I'm hearing this everywhere.
Yeah, I agree, because whenever there is any cost cutting, any plans to reduce the cost, so this is one of the strategy that they employ, right? I'm totally agreeing with you, but definitely the team is the one who is going to suffer. So they will fail and learn. That's what I can say.
I agree with Sripati's point, right? I myself saw the interns, not even freshers, forget about freshers. The interns are placed as a Scrum Master because the organization or the client at that point of time, they felt Scrum Master doesn't do anything, just facilitating meetings and get the work done. That's it. So for that, why do you need to hire someone with experience, or why do you need to place someone with more experience? Let me make use of the interns for that opportunity or for that position. So if that is the situation, my first thought point is like to have the conversation with that respective reporting manager, client manager, whoever it is on on what logic or what basis this position was hired by so and so individual. Accordingly, we will get to know, Sripati, like what's the reason, what's the logic, why that specific individual is placed as a Scrum Master instead of someone else who is experienced. Right. So, couple of my personal experiences, what I got to know is like the reporting manager felt that if someone with experience, like you or me or someone, was placed as a Scrum Master, we might start asking questions, or we might start pinpointing this is not how it is to be, or this is how Agile is supposed to be, this is how the team needs to work on, which that engineering manager doesn't want that. That's the reason explicitly he made someone who is a fresher or college pass or just so that they will follow what are the instructions he give. It is just a namesake position, not even having any forget about that, not even having any experience or anything as such. They just have to follow his instructions like as boss. Right? So there, it's not the problem of that individual who is placed as a Scrum Master, but the person who made that uh, hiring or who made that placement. That is where we need to start addressing, or that is where we need to start figuring out what needs to be done, or what's the logic behind that, or how we can, or how we should handle that situation.
Yeah, okay, Satish. But for me, still, no, the Scrum Master role is very, it's puzzled role.
Yes, it will be.
People are highly, these
That's
jobs
where
are
your
highly paid.
expertise comes in, huh? That's where your expertise comes in. Everything is plain and simple and straightforward. Why you need a Scrum Master? So play with that emotional question. Show your expertise there.
Exactly.
Be part of that game. Right? There's only one piece of cake always. Everyone tries to fight how much portion of cake they want to get. But that struggle is always there in all organizations. It's like snakes and ladder.
Yeah. Yes.
I think we can move to the next question there.
Sure.
In the interest of time.
Sure. Okay. Assuming that an organizational transformation in the business technical delivery to Agile is going on, how high is high for a Scrum Master or Agile coach? Okay. The continuation high is like vertically how many levels up in the org hierarchy he gets support. Horizontally, how many cross-functional teams he can influence for support. So two questions, 2 points come together.
I didn't get what is it mean? How high is high? What is that?
How high is like how many levels up in the hierarchy he can get the support for, or horizontally how many teams or how many cross-functional teams he can influence as a Scrum Master, as a coach to get the support.
Okay, I'll try and answer this out of my personal experience.
Sure.
So I've been a Scrum Master for a huge corporate. That's where I started from. So in corporates, usually the process is very streamlined, or there are certain kinds of marks. Like for example, usually it could be say 2 or 3 roles beyond yours, who would be the ultimate decision makers in terms of the different projects that you're running. So it all depends on what is the boundary of your project. So that happens in corporates in a different way. While right now I work for a organization which is, I would say, medium level. So we are doing organizational agile transformation. So which is where we might have to involve C-suite people as well sometimes. So it combines from an organizational level that we would have to drive that change. So it actually is a subjective thing. So it really varies upon what the boundaries of your project looks like in your particular organization, I would say. So that's about, a Scrum Master or a Agile coach experience. And in terms of how many cross-functional teams can he influence for support, again, one out of my experience, what I can say is I was working with different kinds of teams where, I was working for a team which singly needed my support. And at a different phase, I was a scrum master for 2 or even 4 different teams. So it all depends on the maturity of the teams with respect to Agile and Scrum, and also sometimes the support that they might need. Like, for example, when I was working with 4 teams, there was a particular team which had experience of Agile and Scrum from previous organizations that they worked for and knowledge that they had, but Scrum and Agile was not introduced to the team as in then. So that's one team. So they needed more support. While some other team was already Agile mature, probably because they got some training or probably because the team itself was very self-managed, like what actually Scrum wants. So they needed lesser support. While another team was really, it had more of, say, freshers or people who were completely new to Agile or Scrum, so you had to start from scratch. So it entirely depends on the maturity level that they have, is what I would say.
Thanks, Niranjana.
Hey, first of all, how many? Okay. Anyone else want to answer? Please go ahead. There are 26 people. Tanya, Lalita, Leela, Nadarajun, Niranjan, Ranjan, Pradeep, Prasanna.
Yeah, there are few folks who are
Yeah, I
a
see
bit
Praveen
quiet.
also. I don't know why Praveen is on mute.
Praveen,
He's a
we are
CST.
pulling you.
Yes, it's not about that, and I'm just listening. This is my first session with you guys. Yeah, still learning from the folks.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
great
This is
discussion.
open conversation, Praveen. Anyone can add the
Yes,
points.
yes, sure. Something like which I wanted to add. Really, yes, I've seen the industry going towards the low cost Scrum Masters. Yes, we we need to survive. Again, there is no other go until unless they understand the real need of a Scrum Master. And the current Scrum Masters can perform well or can get into the new nuances of non-violent communication or coaching, powerful questioning. These are all the things where we continuously ask, right? So if some manager comes and then he keeps on telling that, hey, this is not what we wanted, and then we start with the powerful questioning that, hey, what is that we wanted to achieve? And the same thing is happening everywhere. So no surprises. Even the topmost coach is also facing the same problem. I've had a discussion with India's topmost agile coaches, and everywhere the same problem. It is how we adapt to that.
Exactly.
And get into the track, right? So nobody and people say, like, agile coaches and scrum masters are doctors, and the team members or persons who are facing difficulties would come to us, but it is not going in that way. They wanted us to come to them or go to them and ask for questions, and when we go to the teams, go to the leaders, and we all know what happens. And people say, no, I don't have any issues, I don't have any problem. And one of the important factor that we can talk about, like in coaching, is the person has to be coachable. The team has to be coachable. And we all know, like, how many teams are ready to take inputs from a scrum master or a coach.
I agree with you, Praveen.
Right. Horizontally, he can touch, and just to the question which he has shooted, that one I am answering. Horizontally, a Scrum Master can touch a number of teams. Obviously, for the product, whatever the dependent teams that are there, anyways, he has to touch, right? He has to work with them and get see how we can get the things done, right? And I don't agree with the word influence, because a Scrum Master cannot influence people. we facilitate and try to get the things done as much using his capabilities, right? Vertically depends on the structure of the organization. Someone already quoted, I believe, Nilanjan, right? It depends. Like say, for example, at the CTO level, CEO level, they work at the enterprise level, right? Whatever the needs for the organization, and at the VP, SVP level, there are different accounts that are maintained by those people. So at the CTO level, they don't mind how you get the products done. They want the product to be delivered by certain date. So VP or SVP level, I'm just giving an example. Again, organizations have different structure. They are accountable for those, and so that level you can get sometimes visibility, provided your team is agile. Again, in the name of agile, there are, say for example, manager, senior manager, AVP, DVP designations, and you are not allowed to talk to your SVP, who is the enterprise agile coach. And again, there is no use. You won't get that much. But in some organizations, they allow till CTO to talk to them. They have that understandable culture within the team. But at least not till CTO, at least till VP, SVP, that level, mid senior management level, so that they can convey their suggestions and everything. That reachability will be there. There are some organizations where you can reach till CEO. So in my organization, I'm just giving example. Anyone can reach CTO, CEO, and express their things, and if they have certain ideas, of course, after discussing with all the immediate levels, right? Not just shooting the CEO like you're a Superman. If there's no use, then it will boomerang. On what basis you have provided the solution? So it's always good to follow that agility as well as that collaboration within the team. But yeah, it depends on organization to organization.
So hi, my name is Suruchi. I work here in US and I work, my organization uses Scale Agile framework and I'm the RTE and also Scrum Master for a very mission critical project. Also a member of the Lean Agile Center of Excellence. I think the Scrum Master role is very, very dynamic and it really depends on you. Of course, you adapt based on the organizational context. But when I came in, I saw that my organization is pretty hierarchical, but the idea of bringing SAFE was that we encourage open conversations. We allow people to step up, right? So slowly I'm trying to bring in that culture. And the role itself is so dynamic. Sometimes, you are making sure that your team is not blocked, right? So whatever it takes, sometimes it could be, even going technical and understanding why a developer is blocked, or sometimes there could be organizational challenges, right? Process challenges and whatnot. So when you step into that role, I think you should be ready to challenge the status quo. The idea of Agile is to bring in, to make sure everyone is more engaged, you're more productive, you're adding more value. So you should not feel that you're limited and you should just step up, work with people, have conversations, asking very powerful questions like, asking your team, like, do you guys see that there is a challenge? And then making them come up with the answers, to move forward. So some of those I apply and it has really worked very well with my company.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Thanks, Suksha, for that, adding the points.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to add any points? Okay. Let's move
Also,
on.
if I can quickly add, anyone who uses Scale Agile framework, right? If you use SAFE framework in the latest version, they have these responsibility wheels where they cover broad areas where a specific role is responsible for. And if your company uses SAFE and you're the Scrum Master for a SAFE team, then for a safe Scrum Master, there's a nice, very nice, guidance and document and visuals to like help you step up in that role. So if you use SAFe, do check that out if you've not already. I mean, there's a lot of good guidance on the page. Yeah, sorry, just that.
Sure. Thanks for that. Thanks for adding that. Okay. Yes. The next question. How can a new Scrum Master test their teams? Yes, Nadarajan?
Yeah, maybe I can go with you can complete that. Yeah.
Sure. So how can a new Scrum Master test their team's agile maturity level? Is it through one-on-one oral meetings alone or other documented methods to determine?
Yeah, I would like to share my thoughts here. So what I did when I started my work as a Scrum Master. So it's like initially what I did is like I just uh, gone through a few events. I just went in as a spectator to understand like what people are doing. So that is like a silent spectator to understand how much they understood what level of process they are following, something like that. I just make a note of it in the initial phase of start of my joining with the new team. Of course, one-on-one meetings I had it after I did these things, like to get their understanding, like how well they are understood about the agile and Scrum, like what are all the process they are following it up, all these things, and how much they know about it. All these things I had a one-on-one meeting with them to understand their maturity level, and then. Whenever a new team member is going to join in the team, maybe I'll just have a discussion with them, like to understand their experience in agile way of working or a Scrum way of working. And then I'll just explain them like how as a team we are working in a Scrum way of working, something like that. And documentation perspective, yes, so we have few kind of documentation. So we have it in Confluence for a team. It's like how do you say, like the work agreement that's been committed by the team throughout the journey. It is not like for a sprint, it is for a quarter kind of thing or for an year kind of thing. And whenever we are coming up with a few things, we'll be updating it, such things. And then of course the definition of done and definition of ready, all these things will be noted down in a Confluence page, so that everyone might have a chance to see there uh, uh, all these things to make them understand, and they can continue their working, something like that.
Yeah, great points. Again, for any person like either a coach or a Scrum Master, the beautiful weapon is observe, right? Nobody is going to ask us in the first few days or few weeks that, hey, what is that the value that you are going to bring? And it is for you to understand how the team is performing and who are the stakeholders, who are the important players for your team, and observe. It's purely observation. And one thing that I know that how agile team is working or a Scrum team is working is by observing their retrospective. And the second one is their daily Scrum meeting. And another documentation, yes, we can watch out for, yes, the DoD or working agreement and everything should be there. But what we need to watch out for, how frequently they're adapting or changing it, right? So maybe the team has started in 2013 and they started with the DoD, but they've not changed it yet. So that means they're not agile. They're not matured yet, right? So how frequently they are going to this document and then changing it based on the environment change or requirement change and other scenarios. And another beautiful tool is self-assessment, right? Every now and then, maybe what we follow is every 3 months, so that is quarter or 6 months, that we go for a self-assessment. Where do we stand? And we firmly believe that those people who give 5 out of 5 are not the mature teams. The teams where they know that there is always a scope for improvement, and we know, we can sense based on our experience that people who has given like 3.5, 3.6 are close to an average of 4, and we are sensing them that they are, there is a scope for them to have a more improvement. Thank you.
Thanks, Praveen. So same as what you mentioned, right? I prefer following the OAR technique I just mentioned in the chat. Observe as a first step, Praveen mentioned. Then the next step is observe. We can do multiple ways, like observing the way the team is doing, the team is responding, reacting, or having a conversation, one-on-one conversation as well helps. Not just the team level stakeholders as well, like engineering manager, architect, or product owner. We need to start having the interaction or observing, assessing, analyzing them as well. The next is the assess or analyze. So need not be the questionnaire itself. Of course, we use the questionnaire, but along with that, we can do our own assessment of what they are doing. Well, because sometimes the team might say, hey, we are doing perfectly fine. You need any support? They say, no, we don't need. We are all good. We are 100% agile. We are doing everything, whatever is required. That's where, like, as Praveen mentioned, those are the teams, those are the red flags. We need to start assessing or analyzing what is the challenge or what's the gap or what's the aspect of improvement or where they are falling out of track. We need to assess or analyze. And then the next step is like respond or react or recommend. Whatever it is required, we might have to do it as a Scrum Master or as a coach. We need to take that next steps. And it won't be done in one single day or one single sprint. It takes its own time. Like the observation is like a continuous thing. Then the assessing and analyzing is also a continuous thing. Then responding, reacting, or recommending is also a continuous thing as such.
Satish, I have a question for you. Is the
Yes.
OAR technique for assessing the maturity level of the team, or
No, I just mentioned like I prefer following this, or I recommend if someone as a new Scrum Master comes to me and asks, hey, what is it I have to do? Yes, follow these steps or follow this way of working.
Okay, this is for the new Scrum Master entering into the team, already
Anyone as
established
such.
team.
Yeah, anyone as such. If I'm joining your team as a coach or as a Scrum Master, I might follow the same. I'm a established Scrum Master, experienced Scrum Master as a coach, but still I'm new to your team or I'm new to your organization or new to your product.
Okay.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, I would like to add a point over here.
Sure, Lalita. Go ahead.
Until we get hold on the situations and the people, as you mentioned, Satish, we need to have our own understanding of the team. So if I am in your place or the person who is handling for the first time, I will have my own story of that person from the beginning of the conversations in different levels, what I have to have my own understanding, and that story will help me to analyze the person's maturity individually and as a team player until the results are being delivered. So yes, a track record will help us to understand about the team. That's all.
Thank you. Thanks, Lalita. Yeah. Anyone else want to add the point before we go for the last question?
Satish sir, I use SWOT analysis to when I communicate, one-on-one with the developer or the concerned person. So I used to have SWOT analysis and try to observe how the concerned person is, giving answer. And as far my earlier friends gave that retrospective is the very best tool. But in that retrospective tool, when we need to improve, how much we are improving, that is the one thing in the latest engagement, in my December engagement, what I did from last 3 to 4 iteration, what is the problem area? So I jotted down in an Excel sheet and try to showcase this is the problem area we need to focus from last 3 to 4 iteration. We are saying that okay, we need to improve, we need to improve. But as a Scrum Master, I can't see there is no improvement. There is no single improvement, right? So who is going to take care of this ownership? So team mutually they decide and they have idea. Okay, this is the pain area we have, and we need to improve. So in this way, they themselves taken the responsibility of improvisation and they started working around. In this way, you help the team to observe the bigger picture, and rest they can do it. You need to have the energy. You need to guide into particular area. If energy is distributed, you will feel how the things is going. Let it be. I need to complete my 8 hour or 8 or 9 hours, and make the things happen. But you need to focus. If you are focusing your energy, definitely there will be some concrete solution post that. So yeah, this is how I used to do when I am going to for new engagement. And as I say multiple times that we have some parameters, pre-crawl, crawl, walk, run, fly, and of course the last one is exit. The exit one is your team is very much mature. They don't require a scrum master to run the show. You can jump to another team to coach and mentor the team for further maturity assessment. So in this way, you need to jump one team to another to coach and mentor the team or the agile maturity assessment. And yeah, this is how the industry do. Yeah. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Shashank. Anyone else?
I just want to
want to add?
quickly mention that there were such good points mentioned by everyone. One small thing that I typically do with my team is every retro, we come up with a list of actions, and then the next retro, we always, bring that old action item list and see what progress we made. So that helps, drive accountability and credibility with the team. They understand that these retros are just not futile, and real value comes out of it. That's just something that I try to do with my teams.
Thanks for that, Zulukshu. So the point is like, yes. So if in case we are going as a Scrum Master for a existing team, or if in case we are getting started as a new Scrum Master, yes. So how we can get it started? Yes, definitely. Obviously, the retrospective is not just a the namesake discussion to get it done, right? So we need to make sure the improvements is the action items identified is implemented, and the improvement is brought to the team or the release train. Thanks for that. Okay, yes. The last question. When, as a Scrum Master, did you wear the hats of a teacher, mentor, coach, and facilitator? The cite different situations. Would like to take it up. And the poll is open. You can start sharing your poll feedback as well. Just one simple question.
Yeah, first we need to understand the definitions of these maybe activities or maybe whatever that we call, right, as a teacher. And I have done at least last 3 years 300 plus interviews for different positions, a senior Scrum Master, principal Scrum Master, and all. And 95% of the people, they don't know the actual difference or definition of a mentorship and a coaching or a facilitator. And it's not only the Scrum Master, it's the people, right? So whom we talk to day in and day out, the managers or the team, or especially the release teams or project managers or anyone, right? And so we need to first teach them what is this. Again, this is where you're gonna use your skills of a teaching, that hey, this is what I'm trying to use the coaching as a method here. And if you don't teach them what is coaching, and you keep on asking the question, sometimes they might take it in a right direction or wrong direction, and they might end up saying that, hey, this person doesn't know anything. And it happened with me that when I was a Scrum Master, I was always using the coaching as my tool. And the director said, Praveen is not a good Scrum Master, or he doesn't know anything about Scrum or Agile. And can we have someone mentor him? And it's not only with me, it could happen to anyone. right? First, we need to firmly divide the difference, when to use, how to use. Again, what I would use the teaching, when we need to teach the concepts like definition of done, or entire Scrum 101, Agile 101, Kanban 101, and many of those things, that it is again the interactiveness, engaging one, but the outcome is to let them understand what are the concepts that we are teaching. And mentorship always comes up with the expertise. And again, we can use at least 40 to 50% of the coaching in your mentorship. And it should be a long-term, a professional dealing that you should be having here with the mentee. And it could be one person or a group of people. And you should have an outcome at the end. So mostly mentorship works with a Scrum Master or a coach with other Scrum Masters. So if you are an experienced or seasoned Scrum Master in your organization and someone is asking you to mentor him, then you can start with this. And you can also have a mentorship document, right? I know where are we reaching, right? It could not be generic like, hey, can you mentor me? It won't lead to any other outcome. So we maintain this in my current organization. So we also have this mentorship and coaching document that we document first what are the objectives and what are the timelines, and who is going to be the sponsor or who is going to be vetting the results. And when it comes to coaching, coaching concept is the ocean, right? You have a professional coaching, a personal coaching, or a team coaching, which is a very nice topic. And we need to understand when to use, where to use the coaching. And when it comes to coaching, always think about, the person should know the concept of coaching. If they don't know the concept of coaching, it is waste to use this. The facilitation, yeah, we all do, right? This is one role where we are hired for as a Scrum Master. Again, in the facilitation, we are unbiased, and we are not only looking to the time boxes, we are also getting to some outcome at the end of each event, right? So that should be our outcome. Again, the facilitation is a great concept. Like, so I just follow the IAF, International Association for Facilitators, where they have a lot of tools, and a couple of other tools that most of the coaches uses is a liberating structures. Okay, so where they have close to 25 different topics. So where we use for a small group, large group, big room, and many other. PI planning is one of that, the big room facilitation. Yeah, this is from me. Over to you, Sadesh.
Thanks, Praveen. So liberating structure is one of the excellent approach we can use for many of the events. Start using the templates or start using it reference. We can have some hands-on sessions as well if required on using of the liberating structures. Right. So training, as Praveen mentioned, whenever we are trying to set the context for a new topic or any existing way of working as well, if in case we are trying to implement or help the team, that is where we might be playing the role of that trainer or the teacher. Facilitator, by default, all the events we will be playing the role of facilitator, and that's what it is. And during that events as well, we might be playing the role of a coach. Hello, you're able to hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay. There is a disconnection happen. So during the events facilitation as well, we might be playing the role of a coach in between. Right. When we say playing the role of a coach, we won't be jumping around and we will say, hey, now that let me be a coach. No need to even explicitly mention. So a simple example, like for the sprint planning. Right. So let's assume like the past 2, 3 sprints or the previous completed sprint, the team had some challenges and they got some spillover or the story is not complete or whatever reason, right? Immediate next day, when we are going to the sprint planning, the team is again planning that 100% of the capacity. We can simply start asking a question: "Hey, what's the confidence level we as a team to achieve the defined sprint goal?" That at that point of time, we are trying to play the role of a coach. No need to explicitly mention to the team that, hey, now let me wear the coach hat. I will be asking questions. You need to answer me. Need not explain or need not to set the context itself. Right. So, which means that we might be juggling, we might be shuffling the roles of the coach and mentor as and when required, along with the facilitator and the trainer. Just to mention, like last week, not last week, yes, this weekend itself, I'm having a conversation with one of our group member. They reached out to me for a mentoring conversation, and we started with that. And in between, I started asking the questions. Then I mentioned, hey, have you observed that I started playing the role of a coach even without mentioning? Yes, that's what happened. So no need to explicitly mention or no need to explicitly have a full-fledged dedicated coaching session or anything as such. As a Scrum Master, we might have to play all these roles at any point of time. We need to start figuring out when to use which role or when to wear which hat.
Right. Satish, you are done. Can I add?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, just adding a couple of points from my side. Teacher as Scrum Master, how we can wear different hats, right? As a teacher, yes, there is no alternative. It's part of training that he or she provides to the entire team, right? In terms of agile practices or engineering practices or product area, how we can implement better practices, right? Which he provides as part of the training. That is how he is treated as a teacher. The mentor means the person who has high level expertise as someone told and can provide multiple alternatives. So, for example, a person at the mid senior level came back to you and asked, hey, my team is performing very good at a certain level, but I think they are lacking new age capabilities. How can you help in this area, mentoring them to a certain extent? You can help them understand, like, if they are lacking more cohesiveness within the teams, how to build those self-organized teams, how to build those high-performing teams, how to build the cross-functional teams, how to address the interdependencies. So these are the different areas where a mentor can, based on his past experience, right, and his expertise, he or she can provide the suggestion. That is what a mentor will do. A coach, uh, you know, that is the role of a mentor. But a coach, he or she won't provide any direct solution. They will go through a certain process, right? If again, there are two areas here. Uh, Industry takes agile coach in two different ways. One is, he or she is handling some set of expertise at the program and portfolio level, using some scaled frameworks, suggesting things at the portfolio level in terms of CI/CD and other expertise, how they can make the entire enterprise agile, right? So those are the different areas where they can see one part of the industry see as agile coach. But the other area is one-on-one pure coaching, where you sit with that particular person. If they come up with some problem, you don't provide a solution, but go navigate him through that. There are different techniques, right? And try to coach them so that they understand themselves, like what are their potential, and try to drive to their own solution. So this is how I see the difference. And facilitator this is a known concept. So this is how you can easily remember the difference between these four roles. Okay, Satish, I think we are on top of the hour, right? Unless anyone has
Yes,
any
sir.
questions, we can call it a day. If
Yeah.
anyone has any,
Yeah, I shared the poll link. I mean, the same Slido link. Whoever is not yet to provide the feedback, kindly provide the feedback. It helps us to improve. And of course, we just added only one point. Any questions or any suggestions, feel free to share with Sharath and myself. We are happy to implement and improve going ahead.
all right. Thanks, everyone. I think we forgot to wish each other Happy New Year, right?
Happy New Year. This is the first discussion
Anyways,
we had. Yeah.
maybe I missed it. Okay, we'll meet next month. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.